listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Where do I come from?
It seems like you have a little problem understanding the English language.
The only way a guy like you gets a set of nuts is by buying them at the concession stand.
I will eat his carcass in front of his little gazelle friends.
It's like a jar of mayonnaise with eyeballs and a ketchup haircut.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty!
Son of a bitch.
Wow, man, freaked out!
Get your fucking shit together, my God!
And I'm living now, yeah!
I want to know what's going on, and I want to know right now.
It's like the most important man in the world standing here, and you got a conversation going with each other.
I would like to just get to know you.
The great one says you can kiss his ass.
Nice to meet you. What's going on?
I wish horrible flesh-eating disease on you and your family, but not a disease where you die. A disease where you have to walk the earth mutated as some sort of piece of...
Listen to me very carefully. Whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise. Listen to me very carefully.
Maybe I am insane. Maybe I am insane. And maybe it's time for you to find out how insane I am. Yeah!
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
Yo, what up, though? Scrappy the Belt guy here. Take two, motherfuckers! Oh, man, we're gonna try this one more again. Are you ready? Belt collectors, unite! How are y'all living? You guys doing all right? I certainly hope so. Can you hear me on my there? All right. I hope we have a full-on audio. Welcome to BCU. This is a special presentation of the Belt Collectors Unite podcast, as we would normally go at a more reasonable, easier time for everybody. Sunday at 7, right before any wrestling pay-per-views may go off or anything like that. Most everybody's home and relaxing and all that. So if you're rushing home from work and you miss any part of this, we will actually have this for real this time. We'll have the audio. We'll have the whole thing. We're going to bring in our buddy Tim Harrell. We're going to talk about Die Hard Wrestling and the story behind all that and his kind of idea of this whole concept, and I really, really love it. So, and the stories are really good. And I had a chance to talk to him, of course, before we did the interview last week, just so we could kind of go through things, and I kind of knew what to expect and all that. And so I was pumped. So when we had all those problems last week, I was really upset. So the chat room is open. Or the stuff, all the chat rooms and YouTube, on Facebook, whatever, all that stuff's there. So let me know if you missed the audio, if there was no, like, if you can't hear stuff like, I don't know, here, let me just put a little music. Okay, so if you can't hear that backdrop music, you guys gotta let me know. Because that means you're not gonna hear the interview either, so, but if that's all coming through, just know that we're good to go, and that's my segue, because segues are for kids, and I just do whatever I want here. We've got the Midsummer Spectacular Moose. Johnny the Moose will be back in the house for the Midsummer Spectacular. There's actually sports stuff to talk about, and damn, it's going to be off the hook. So, this day next week, 8 p.m. Tune in for DSR2, Detroit Sports Radio Rebels with Johnny the Moose. I'll be sitting second chair and hanging out, and we will be breaking down all the fun stuff that is sports, and it is always it's always crazy, especially the Midsummer Spectacular, because we take a little break, and then when we're gone for a little while and we get back together, it's crazy. So it'll be an awesome show, and like I said, plenty to get into. As you know, we were here the Wednesday that all the COVID stuff actually hit the world of sports, and it was a pretty wild time. So yeah, that's you know. Plenty to get into now, finally. So, and you guys probably heard, if you were here for that and you listened to that show, you know my take, and I stand by what I said months ago. So this will be interesting how this goes to, next week, 8 p.m. Eastern for the Midsummer Spectacular. And then DSR2 will be back regular every Wednesday at 8 in the fall. So, you know, just hang tight. But we're all about Belt Collectors Unite and the BCU podcast. I'm just waiting on our buddy Tim to give us a holler here, and we'll get the interview started. But of course, I would be remiss if I did not kind of give updates on things that are going on around here. I'm still working out some angles on bringing in some more help. I've instituted a 90-day moratorium so that we can get belts out to everybody in a more timely fashion, because we got jammed up from the COVID. And I think I've been in touch with just about everybody personally on a one-on-one level, and things are really starting to get cooking a little bit here. So today, right after the show, I'm getting right back into it. I got plates going into the acid bath, some second take twos of that, you know, because we had a couple mishaps. Stuff happens, you know, and unforeseen things kind of happen, and that's what sucks about putting quotes and timelines out there for people, because like all these crazy things happen, and this time it's just they all happened at once with something that nobody saw coming on top of it all. So just real wild times, and I apologize to everybody, but I think I got everything going there. And like I said, the end of September, guys, J-Dub Belts will be back to taking full orders like normal, and we'll have lots of cool news. If you haven't gone to the page, make sure you do like it, because we'll be showing pictures of the stuff that is going to be sent out and has already been sent out. I just been a little bit behind, so hang tight on that. So there we go, and without further ado, Canada Mike, thanks for checking in on here. Oh, and talking some baseball. You better hang out next week with us, Mike. I appreciate you giving us a good sound check there too. So once Tim gives us a holler here, we'll get this thing rolling. But the world of championship belts has been something different. I don't know if you guys saw Gangrel has got his school out there, and he's got a new belt. Classic Shields made his belt for his like wrestling school that's getting ready to move to a new place and set up over there. And that's a pretty neat belt. Although I'm not sure why you put a big eagle on a Florida championship, but it was still great quality belt. Looks good. Same stuff going on, guys, in the hobbies, dude. You know, we talk about it all the time, and we'll get into it more next week when we get back to, well, it's Monday. We're going to be here Monday, because normally it's Sunday night, guys. So I guess I should get this out of the way too. Next week, or this show coming up when we're supposed to have our normal show would be Sunday. We're going to bump it to Monday. So you're going to get me Monday and Wednesday. So you got me Wednesday, then Monday and Wednesday. So that's probably too much of me, but we are going to get back into some stuff because you know, with the BCU podcast, I just got some family stuff going on Sunday, and I doubt I'll make it in time, and I don't want to kind of jam that stuff up. So we'll do Monday. We'll do the same 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday, so we'll get in before Raw and all that, and that's how we'll run it. So anyway, we got the usual suspects in the hobby, guys, kind of just, you know, stealing photos and putting stuff out there and this, that, and the other, but raffles is kind of what I want to talk about. I don't know how you guys feel about the raffles, but like some of them, to me, I can see a raffle, it looks okay to me. Like I don't feel, but in most cases, these raffles in these groups really, I'm not feeling it. Like something is incredibly shady about the whole scenario. I mean, just doing the math kind of angers my soul. That I understand that there's a belt now there, and you could potentially win for $25-$30 on a ticket or whatever they have it for. But when they buy the belt for $400, then they sell 25 slots at $25 a shot, like, and then in a lot of cases, like, you can see people that are either admins of that group are buying up slots, or their friends that, obvious, you could tell through interactions that they've got some kind of relationship. I don't know how you guys feel about that stuff. I, over at J-Dubs Belts, would love to do like a dollar raffle, you know what I mean, on a belt, or a $2 belt raffle, something like that, because we can do stuff like that. Not right now, obviously, with all this stuff, but, I don't know how you guys would feel about that. When I look at these things in the hobby, it's pretty scary business here. So I'm surprised at how many. Let me mess with him here. How many groups are still doing this? Because I mean, like I said, if there's anything that's going to be, and that's guys, when you hear about cats getting their PayPal shut down, or you got to use this other stuff because they can't have PayPal, or they can't have this, or they can't have that, it's because of these raffles. So like, from a legal standpoint, they're already being cracked down on, but like, that doesn't necessarily mean they're not on the up and up, like, just because PayPal doesn't like you, quote unquote gambling, because that's what that is technically. When you're playing like the lotto or anything like that, it is definitely a gamble, or a gambling kind of feel, vibe. I don't know, but I was just kind of curious. So if you guys want to get in on that topic, that's one we got on the table. 313-307-5340 is the text line if you want to get into us that way and be anonymous, or maybe you're moving around and you just got us on the computer and you don't want to get into the other stuff, and it's easier to grab your phone, or maybe you just want to shoot us a text and harass us when we're not doing the show. Whatever. There's the line. Use it. 313-307-5340. So yeah, I've always considered the raffle thing, but once again, I feel like it's a shady line there, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. So you can hit me up, let me know, and we'll discuss it. Maybe that's something that I would institute or put in over at J-Dubs if you guys are into it. Maybe around the holiday season or something like that. That would be a good time. I wouldn't do them all the time like everybody else would, but I would do something maybe around the holiday season. Maybe I get and we'll talk more about these in the coming weeks, but I've been working more and more deals to do replicas and things like that, so maybe we can offer up replicas of belts that we've done, or for other companies, or whatever the case may be. So that's an option, but to me, I just feel like they're so janky. Like there's so many dirty, nasty things going on in there. Okay, look, here we go. Let's see what we got. Yo, what up, though? Tim, you there?
I made it through. I bet you were thinking, where is this guy at?
Did you? I thought maybe you like ran off a cliff driving your car, trying to text us or call us or something. I had no idea. No, I'm just kidding. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good. And hey, just so everyone knows, in total honesty and responsibility, I got some earbuds on, so it's all good and safe. We can talk all day.
Okay, all right, that's what's up. So, all right, everybody, I told you we were waiting, and here's the man of the hour, Tim Harrell. We were talking about last week, guys, and I'm so bummed out that the interview got jammed up, that we had to get it in as soon as possible. You needed to hear this thing. I love the story behind Die Hard, and the whole nine. So we're gonna run this thing back, Tim. We're gonna give it to him like in full, the best we can. And so I'm gonna kind of run through just like we did last time. Are you ready?
Hey, I've been ready since last time. I've been ready since 30 minutes after the last interview.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. All right, man. So before we get into Die Hard Wrestling and what it's all about, because I love the concept. It's absolutely outstanding idea, and of course, that's why I'm all in. But there's a little background to this, with you and what you got going on. So let's give the people a little baseline of, where you come from, what's going on, and then we'll lead into, the concept and how Die Hard even came about.
Okay, yeah, it sounds good, and I'm glad you did it like that, because to be honest, it's easier. I don't want to say easier, but I feel like what Die Hard stands for, I stand for. And I think if people hear the reason why I'm doing this down here in Tampa, Florida, they would know that I'm not just trying to be like the next guy who came down here to Tampa trying to start a pro wrestling federation. So I'm 38 years old. All right, and I was born on Fort Bragg in North Carolina. My father was in the Special Forces. My uncle were in the Special Forces. Both my grandfathers were in the military. I mean, I'm a military brat to the T. And what I mean is, when you talk to kids in grade school, and they're like, hey, I'm going to be a doctor when I grow up. I'm going to be a ballerina. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you guys are going to be. I had to be in the Army. Like, I knew that from a little young age.
Right.
So I always knew I was going to be in the Army. But at the same time, from a very, very young age, I've always been a martial arts fanatic. The first movie I ever saw, the first movie I saw was Bloodsport, with Jean-Claude and Bolo Young, and they have the Kumite tournament.
Oh, yes.
And I thought that was freaking awesome.
Oh, it was insane.
Then the next movie I see Karate Kid, which is a little bit more realistic for me as a young kid. I'm like 10 years old watching Bloodsport. I can't go to a Kumite.
Right.
But I see the movie Karate Kid, and I see that you can actually take karate classes, and it wasn't Mr. Miyagi. It wasn't Danielson. I'm seeing the Cobra Kai. I'm watching a movie that has like a tough guy school where all the kids in school go to and learn karate.
Right.
So, when I was 10 years old, I'm out in my backyard. I'm throwing kicks. I'm throwing punches. I'm checking out the karate books from the library and stuff, and my parents are noticing it. So on my 11th birthday, as a birthday surprise, I think I'm going out to eat with my family, but they actually take me for my birthday that day as a surprise to what they thought was a karate class. It was actually a taekwondo class, but it's all the same when you're a parent first checking it out. So for my 11th birthday, as a surprise, the best birthday present I've ever had to this day was I went to my first taekwondo class. And it was in Raleigh, North Carolina. The school is actually still around today. It's called REMA, Raleigh Institute of Martial Arts. It's the longest running MMA gym in North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
So, back when I was 11 years old, I was taking taekwondo, and then we were doing like judo and a little bit of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in the other class, like kicking, taekwondo classes, and then grappling in the other classes coming up. And I did that competitively. Either at like a judo or grappling tournament or a taekwondo tournament every weekend, training Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 days a week, from the age of 11 all the way up to my senior year. I was a martial arts fanatic, and it was a competition. I'm watching wrestling with my dad and brothers. I love the competition. I love martial arts. I love the thrill of two men or two competitors going in the ring and competing. I like it. But at the same time, keep in mind that I said I was a military brat. So all the dreams and ambitions that I have or had as a child to be like a martial arts movie star or a martial arts competitor or anything would have to actually, wait until after my military service. My dad was clear about that. So my senior year, I'm talking to the Army recruiters. They're doing, and if people are listening, they know how the Army recruiters are. They're doing their thing. They're like, oh, man, I can get you anywhere you want to go. I'll put you airborne. I'll put you in Alaska. I'll put you in Hawaii, Italy, Germany, and I'm telling the guy, I'm like, look, I want to go to Korea. And that's weird because people don't want to go to Korea in the military. It's only supposed to be a 1-year deployment. You got curfew. It's not that much fun for people. But so he was like, you want to go where? And I was like, I want to go to Korea. I had a whole plan. I was going to join the Army for 3 years. The Olympics is every 4 years. So I was going to graduate, go into the Army for 3 years, go to Korea. This was my plan in high school. Go to Korea for my duty station, do Army stuff all day, get off work and train Taekwondo at night, get out of the Army the year of Olympics, 2004, and then try out for the Olympics. That was my plan when I was a senior. I did martial arts from 6th grade all the way up, and my plan was to join the Army, get ready for the Olympics, go to the Olympics. So I tell the recruiter that. And he's like, okay, all he hears is I would have joined the Army for 3 years and go to Korea. That's all they cared about.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, sure. Sign this dotted line, you be whatever you want to be. Sign 2, and I go to Korea. But luckily, the Army does actually have sports programs. If it's an Olympic sport, taekwondo, boxing, wrestling, volleyball, tennis, any of those, they have an all-Army sports program that's 2 months a year. You try out for it, and if you make it, you get to go to the U.S. Nationals, represent the Army. But in Korea, there's a full-time taekwondo team in Korea with the U.S. Army, and half the team does demonstrations, and the other half does competitions, and then during the off time when there's no demos or tournaments, they're teaching, combatives to the soldiers and stuff. So I lucked out. I got to go to Korea. I already did martial arts my whole life, so I got to do that. I was on the 2ID taekwondo team. I was on the competition team. They called it the fight team. So I was in Korea in the Army for 3.5 years. I was on the All-Army team in 2003. I won the All-Armed Forces championships in 2003. I won gold medal in the Korean Open in 2003. I was the first non-Korean to fight in the Korean Armed Forces Championship. I got knocked out in my very first fight in that one, but that's a good claim to fame. I was competing. So yeah, for the first 3.5 years, all I did was taught combatives and competed in Korea. And I still trained like Hapkido and grappling and jiu-jitsu at nighttime too. And I loved it, and it was getting ready for me to get out of the Army, and I was literally in the prime. Everybody says it afterwards. I was in the prime of my life. I mean, I spent 3.5 years in Korea doing nothing but martial arts competition. I could have got out and went to the Olympics no problem. Right. But the month that it was time to get out of the Army, my brother's 11 months older than me. He joined the Army as well. He was in Iraq when it was time for me to get out of the Army. The war on terrorism was getting really big. People were deploying. My heart is just something inside of me was saying, Tim, it's not your time. It's not the Olympics. So I literally decided I'm not going to get out. I'm not going to pursue Taekwondo in the Olympics. I'm going to stay in the Army, and I'm going to actually go to a real unit. So I re-enlisted. I requested to go to a deployable unit. I mean, I'm like a recruiter's best. I'm like a wet dream for a recruiter. Right. In high school, I'm like, I want to go on for 3 years. I want to go to Korea where no one wants to go. Right. And then when it's time for me to get out, I'm like, I want to stay in, and I want to go to whatever unit's about to deploy to Afghanistan. Like literally, that's how I felt. I was like, I got so much good training, so many good memories, so many good experiences from my martial arts in the military that I felt like I needed to give my country back some of it. So I say I want to re-enlist. I want to go to whatever units are most rapidly deploying because I want to go fight for my country. Recruiter again, the retention NCO, 3.5 years later, he says, no problem. Sign the dotted line. We're going to send you to 10th Mountain Division, New York, Fort Drum, New York, upstate New York. People that know 10th Mountain Division, that's the most deployed Army division in the world. That Army division has fought in every major conflict from World War II on. I mean, they were the guys that you saw in Black Hawk Down. I mean, they deploy everywhere. So I tell him, I want to re-enlist and go to Afghanistan. He says, all right, go to this unit. So I re-enlist. I go up there. I get put into a unit called 371 Reconnaissance. Reconnaissance, surveillance, target acquisition. So it was like a long-range reconnaissance and surveillance teams. They worked in 4-man teams. So I got in that unit. We trained for about 6 months. They pulled the unit together. We did a lot of combatives training. We did a lot of close quarters shooting training. And we did a lot of reconnaissance and surveillance training. And then we deployed. And when we went in Afghanistan, we got attached first to 7th Special Forces Group. So we spent the first year in Afghanistan doing nothing but reconnaissance for 7th Group. And then at the end of that year, we got extended, and we did another year with 3rd Special Forces Group doing the reconnaissance for them. So I spent 2 years or 2 consecutive tours in Afghanistan. I was doing reconnaissance and surveillance with, special operations units and special forces teams. And then, and I lost some people. I saw a lot of my good friends, a lot of my very good friends die. And I got out. I got out. It was time when I got back from Afghanistan, it was time for me to get out. Honorable discharge. So I was out. And when I got out, I was just, and for people listening, it's a vulnerable thing I'm about to say. and I don't even know. I mean, people use the term PTSD. I don't know what the correct term is. I just know that when I got out, I was not out. You know, I was not me.
Yep.
You know, you see war movies, and you see incredible firefights, and then at the end of the war movie, you know, the Americans win the firefight, and it's a happy ending.
Yeah, that's
and you're
not
like, oh
real.
man, it's a happy ending. These guys survived, but it's not that. So we'll leave it at that. So I get back, and that's for another day. I'll talk later about that. But so I get back, and it's not the same. I'm not happy-go-lucky that I just did 2 tours with Special Forces. I'm not the same. Something's wrong with me. But I'm an adult. I'm out of the military. You know, I have a wife. I have kids. I have to work. You know, so it's just I'm living a different life now. I'm not even doing martial arts anymore. I'm not excited. People would see like my medals or see pictures and like, oh man, you do martial arts, and I'd just be like, nah, I used to. That was the old me. You know, I spent the first about 5 years out of the Army just as a zombie, not interested in anything, nothing going for me. And, just low. Right. And my voice is getting low talking about it now. I get to be, I'm at the age of 29 at this time, and it's about a week or 2 before my birthday, before my 30th birthday. And I just decided, I'm like, I need to change. I need to pick me up. I need to turn my life around. You know, like literally I was just waking up, working a 8-hour, 12-hour shift, getting off work, you know, eating dinner with my wife and kids and drinking myself to sleep. I was like, I need to change my life.
Right.
So I decided to start looking at options, and I'm looking online, and I'm looking up my old Army buddies that were in the All-Army Taekwondo team. And I'm looking them up on Facebook, and I'm like, let me see what they've been through in their life and stuff, you know? And I see that all these guys, you know, are blessed. They all have schools, and they're all doing well. They got martial arts schools. They're living their life. They're living their passion. And I was sitting here in a hole that I dug myself, and I was mad. And I was like, you know what? That's what I need. I need to get back into my passion. You know, martial arts, grappling, you know, jiu-jitsu competition, taekwondo. Absolutely. That was my passion. Yep. So I said, you know what? This is a sign. I'm about to turn 30 in 2 weeks. You know, I started martial arts on my 11th birthday. I was like, I'm going to put myself in martial arts when I turn 30. That was my goal. That was my promise to myself. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to clean my life up. You know, I'm going to get back into martial arts. I'm going to get healthy, everything. So, and she was for it. So, and I decided the martial art that I was going to go back into was going to be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know, I had started at a young age doing taekwondo and grappling, judo and jiu-jitsu, and in the Army you do jiu-jitsu and grappling combatives, and, you know, everyone sees UFC, and, you know, so jiu-jitsu was what I love. So I said, when I turn 30, I'm going to go to jiu-jitsu. So, you know, my father-in-law actually bought me my first BJJ gi and gave it to me as my birthday present, so there was no turning back. Right. And I went to a jiu-jitsu school. And I go in this jiu-jitsu school with this chip on my shoulder, actually with 2 chips on my shoulder. I have a chip on my shoulder that, one, I'm a black belt. I've been doing martial arts my whole life. And then I have another chip on my shoulder that I was a military combat veteran. I've been to combat, so I feel like I'm the baddest guy in there. I'm like looking at these guys, and I'm like, this dude's wearing a RCVA shirt. This guy looks like he's wearing surfing trunks. I was like, this, you know, I felt like I was about to dominate in there. Right. But I did not. I did not. As a matter of fact, I was the dominated. You know, I was. You could take pictures of me my first couple of nights, and they would be like jiu-jitsu memes and stuff. I mean, I was going up there, I was just getting ragdolled, just annihilated. But it was like, as bad as I was getting beat down, and as hard as it was recharging my battery in my body in a weird way. It was saving me.
And your spirit, your soul. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was feeding my soul, and I was getting better, and I'm 5'6", but my personality's 7 foot tall, so I'm wanting to go in there and kick guys' ass. You know, I'm watching videos now. I'm dusting the rust off of my old moves. You know, and I'm like, I'm getting my groove back. You know, I'm getting my soul back, and I'm loving it, and I'm doing it for the next 2 or 3 years, and then I'm competing in like local tournaments like NAGA and U.S. Grappling, just local tournaments, and I'm grappling and I'm doing well, and even win or lose doesn't matter, but I'm having fun. And I'm like, you know what? I want to tell other veterans You know, I want to, like, people always say, like, jiu-jitsu saved my life, and they show pictures of out of shape or overweight people, and then 5 months later they're in shape. But I wanted to show people, like, jiu-jitsu saved my life. Like, from a PTSD, combat veteran, felt like I was going nowhere in life. Well, so I was like, how can I tell people? I didn't live around other veterans. I was like, what can I do? I could use social media and post it and stuff. I was like, so that's kind of a start. So I started posting stuff. But I was like, you know what I can really do? Since jiu-jitsu saved my life, and I'm doing things that I used to always do, and I used to compete in the Army on an international level, I was like, I need to do something like that. I need to make a big noise. So what I decided to do was make a challenge video. I mean, social media is Facebook. I decided to make a challenge video to a celebrity that does jiu-jitsu. Now, I don't know any. So I started looking them up. I'm like, I'll fight anyone. So I make I challenge Keanu Reeves. You know, but he doesn't take it, of course. You know, with John Wick. I challenge Al Bundy from Married with Children. Right. I don't know if you guys know he's a black belt.
Oh, he's legit. He's legit. No doubt.
Hey, if you're listening to this, Al Bundy, that challenge is still on the table, my friend. I challenged Al Bundy. He didn't pick it up. He didn't hear about it. And I challenged Army James from New York Inc. and Miami Inc.
Yep.
And if you guys have seen that show, the reality show,
I've been down to Miami like after he was gone, but like towards the end of his run down there, I had been down there. So yes, I am very aware. Of course, we followed him in his career on television, of course.
Yeah, I watched all the show. Me and my wife watched the show together. I love this stuff. Yeah. So I challenged him, and sure enough, the week or two after I make the challenge video, because I did a challenge video, I waited a week or two. I was like, all right, nothing happened. Let me challenge Al Bundy. All right, nothing happened. Let me challenge So I'm making challenges. And a week or two after I challenged Army James, I started getting friend requests on Facebook from like tattoo people and like people who are in tattoo just tattoo people. Yeah. Like you can look at their pages like, this is a tattoo guy.
Right.
So I'm getting like all these friend requests and stuff. And I'm like, man, that's cool. It must have at least gone to some in the tattoo community.
Right.
Well, then I'm training I'm at my school. I'm at the school I'm training at that night. It was Revolution Modern Martial Arts. It's a different MMA school in North Carolina. I was there training, and my phone's ringing. And I don't recognize the numbers. I don't answer it. And then it's ringing again. And again, so it's like someone's trying to get a hold of me that I don't recognize the number because they keep calling back. So I'm like, all right, I need to take this call. So I pick it up, and the voice the guy who's calling me sounds like Army James.
Right.
But I have never talked to Army James, and I've never had a celebrity take me up on one of my call-out videos.
Right, so at this point, you're just thinking you're getting punked.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is like my buddy making fun of me.
Yep.
So I'm rolling with it. I'm like, hello? He's like, yeah, is this Tim Hill? And I'm like, yeah, this is Tim. Who's this? He's like, this is Army James. What's the meaning? He's like saying big words. He's like, what's the meaning of this video you calling me out? So I think it's my friends. I'm like, what do you mean, what's the meaning of it? The meaning of it is I want to take you in the ring and choke you out, armbar you, omoplata you, heel hook you, whatever. So I'm talking like mad smack to Army James, not knowing that it's Army James. And for people that don't know, Army James is the real deal. Okay, he doesn't just act like a tough guy on the show. He's a thug in real life.
Right.
So he's getting heated on the phone. He eventually hangs up. You know what I mean? I still think it's a joke. And then about 3 or 4 days later, he calls me back again. So I take the call, and I realize it really is Army James. And he's not having fun. This isn't a good phone call. I mean, he's like, look,
this is not a work.
Why are you making a video saying you want to fight? Because the video I made, I was like, hey, this is a call out to Army James. I see that you're designing BJJs. I want to make a challenge. I'll fight you in a super fight. If you win, I'll buy your most expensive gi. If I win, you have to give me a tattoo. So it's like a funny call-out video, but not to him. So he's like, who do you think you are? He's like yelling at me. He's like, who do you think you are? He's like, I see your call-out video. I look you up on Facebook. I get your phone number. You try to make fun of me in front of all your friends, you know, and now you're making a video. And I'm like, whoa. That's when I realized it's really on me. So I was like, whoa, all right, slow down, Army, sorry. I'm a big fan. I was just, doing it to be funny. And he still didn't let up. He's like, no. He's like, nothing funny about talking shit saying you're going to beat another man's ass.
Yeah, it's like, get back pedal now.
Yeah, he's like, where I come from, when a man makes a video saying he's going to beat another man's ass, and that man takes him up on it, you gotta beat that man's ass. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. I was like, well, look. Here's the thing. I was like, I'm not gonna back out of it. I was like, but I'll fight you. But I was like, if I fight you, I want to do it at like an MMA place where on the show where we can get paid. I was like, 'cause I want to get paid to fight you. And he'd still get mad. He's like, who are you that you should get paid to fight me? And I was like, here's the thing. And I told him my story. I'm like, I'm a veteran. You know, I've been in some bad places in my life. I use jiu-jitsu and competition. Get out of it. I'll fight you, and I'll donate the money to PTSD. And I tell him the whole story. And he says to me, he says, Tim, did you know that I'm a Marine Corps veteran? And I was like, no, I didn't know that. He's like, yeah, I don't show it on my TV show. He's like, I was in the Marines, I was in the Gulf War. So it hit him in the heart. Right. So he was like, I'll do that. He's like, you know what? I will do that. He's like, and I'll match you. He's like, if you find a place, an MMA show that will take us up on a fight, and I'll donate all the money from me to PTSD too. So we'll double up the donation. Nice. He's like, but it's all on you. You got to do it. You do it. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it, you know. So at first I'm trying to email MMA people and like, hey, my name's Tim. No one's ever heard of me. Hey, my name's Tim. Army James from New York Inc. wants to fight me on your show. And everyone's like, okay, sure, buddy. That's cool. Yeah, they're not believing me. So I go back and I'm like, Army, I need you to like help me at least make a call-out video back to me.
Right.
You know, so he does. He goes into his tattoo shop, he sets his camera up, and he makes a call-out video. He's like, hey, so Timothy, I see you're calling me out for a jiu-jitsu match, and today's the day. I'll take it. You name the place, and I'll be there. I'll see you in the ring. And he cuts it off. Right. So now I got some fuel. So that's the only help he gave me. You know, he's like, you do it and I'll be there. So now I got some fuel. So I'm showing this to people, and now everyone's like, yeah, we'll do it. Right. So there was a fight. There was an MMA cage match company right there in North Carolina, where I was from. Okay. And they said they would take the fight. And I was like, that's cool. That's right here in North Carolina. He can come to me. He said he'll come to me. Right. So I messaged him. I'm like, hey, this company's going to do it. They said they'll put us in as the co-main event, you know, sell a bunch of tickets, blah, 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 and stuff. And he was like, cool. He was like, who's the company? And I tell him, I don't want to put him on blast on the radio and stuff. I'll tell you on the low. Yeah. But, you know, so I tell him the company, and he's like, no. He's like, I know those guys. I know that fight promoter. He was like, and they'll tell you that they'll donate money. They'll help us donate money to PTSD, but they really won't. They'll keep the money and stuff. So he's like, I'll do it, but you're gonna have to find someone who will guarantee that they're gonna donate the money or give it to us so we can donate. Right. So right when he said that, I was like, man, this man really does genuinely care about helping. He ain't just saying, all right, I'll do it to get me some publicity. Like he wanted to make sure the money goes to veterans. Yeah. So I go from there. Now I'm at ground zero again. I'm like, great. Now I got no one again. So I'm talking to my buddies who are still in the military. So they're in the SF group. They're the Green Beret guys at Bragg, and they actually had like a MMA school off post. And I'm telling them, I'm like, man, I can, you know, Army's going to fight me if I can find a place, but I got to find a place that will guarantee, you know, we'll go donate all the money to veterans. You know, I was like, some of these fight promoters are shady. They say they will, but they won't. You know, you gotta, and that, you know, that's how it is.
That's the unfortunate fact.
Yeah, you know, so the guy says to me, they're like, Tim, have you ever thought about just doing it yourself? You know, like, let's just put it on ourselves.
Hey, baby boy, that's what your mama told you, right? If you want it done, you got to do it yourself.
Do it yourself and stuff. They're like, we got a boxing ring. They had a boxing ring at their school. They had a small cage. They're like, we can do this, you know, we can do it ourselves. So we started like advertising ourselves, making pictures. We signed other super fights. So we were going to do it in a boxing ring. So it was going to be like the old school Emil Gracie matches when they fought in the ring. They were going to be submission only. So no points, no judge's decision. Each match was going to be 15 minutes long, and it was submission or nothing. So you either got to win or a draw. Right. So there wasn't going to be, you were going to play for points. You weren't going to, you know, just try to, you know, get a takedown and install. You had to actually go for submissions if you want to get a win. Yep. And there were 12 matches lined up for Pro Jitsu 1. That's the name of the event, Pro Jitsu 1. And Army was in on it. We were going to do it. And we were going to do it. We did it Valentine's Day, 2014. We were going to do it on Fort Bragg, but just because of the amount of crowd and a lot of civilians and stuff, Fort Bragg, we couldn't do it on post. So we did it on the National Guard Armory right across the street, right there in Fayetteville. And I mean, it was a hit. Yeah. I mean, we had super fights from key super fights, no key super fights, all color belt super fights. MMA guys fighting BJJ guys. It was great. Me and Army fought in the co-main event, and out of all the matches, all 12 fights that day, everyone ended in a submission except for mine and Army's. Ours, no one tapped. So that was a big hit for me. Great for him. He was a great guy. He gave me like some gifts that day, some custom made keys and stuff. And then from there, I continued to fight. I fought a couple more times on Pro Jitsu's on Fight Card, on pay-per-view, and always donated the proceeds to PTSD and stuff. And, I loved it. I loved the competition theory, type of training and everything. But as I got older, I had a couple more kids, and a wife and everything, and I realized I'm not going to be, if me competing, I always fought the open weight class. Let me throw that out there. I'm 5'6", I'm the little guy. I always took the challenges from the bigger guys.
Right.
So, because it raised a big show, we got a lot of people in there, and I could donate to PTSD. That was a great way to do it. But as I got older, had more kids, started slowing down, I started realizing the reality of it is that's cool, but if I go out to a show as an older guy that's not quite, I got to make a great show and win every single time, or eventually the fluff's going to go down, and then it's going to just go to vain. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this for PTSD, and then I go out and get tapped in a flying triangle in like the first 2 seconds, So I decided, why don't I keep it going by helping other veterans? So instead of just me doing it, I started training, I started teaching, I started coaching in North Carolina, and I started teaching at a school so civilians could come, they could pay money to train just like a regular class, but I offered veterans, U.S. combat veterans, 100% free training. So they could come train with me for free. They could train with my class for free. And I know I'm not just one of those guys that says, hey, studies show the BJJ helps veterans. No, I am a veteran who used BJJ to help me. So me helping another veteran, I know what they're going through. I know. I know when I need to back off. I know when I can text someone and say, hey, you haven't been in class in 3 nights. What's going on? And I know when I do need to just back off. Because, maybe it's a certain anniversary or a date or, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. So, and it helps me, and it still helps me to this day, knowing that I'm training hard and I'm among other veterans and stuff.
Well, and a big part of what you guys have always done and what's been a big part of your life for so long has been the camaraderie of all that. And when you get away from all that, that's you need to lean on that when you're having that like those PTSD moments, and when you don't have that to lean on, then you fall deeper in, and this gives you that to lean on and others as well.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love about what you got going on here. Now, the reason, guys, if you guys are just tuning in, this is a special edition of Belt Collectors Unite. We've got the owner of Die Hard Wrestling, Tim Harrell, here. We've been talking a little bit about, I had him tell his story and his background because I really think it sets the tone and the real understanding for the whole concept of what Die Hard Wrestling is all about. Now, I know you guys heard a lot of MMA and jiu-jitsu and all this stuff and all these stories, and you're like, what's this have to do with Die Hard Wrestling? Well, this is where it all comes together. Are you ready for the plot? Like, this is the final scene of why this comes together. Now, Tim, I love the concept of what this is. Obviously, the inspiration that brought it together is without question from what you are telling us. Like, how do you make the transition from doing and fighting and put on thing to now you're running a promotion and you're coming up with all these great ideas? Because you do have some really cool ideas with this company and what's going on. So, like, I know what inspired the concept, but what kind of gave you the idea to do all these different things and explain all of those things? Because this is not just like your typical wrestling setup. Now, we told you the good things, right? As far as you got the camaraderie there, you're giving back, you're teaching other guys to deal with things. There's a lot there. But what brought on like the idea of bringing this martial arts and pro wrestling together?
So, I mean, and you and me, I feel like you and I are just peas in the pod when we were talking that one day,
Yes.
and we talked all day about Sakuraba
Yes.
and everything. And I think of my era. When I was coming up, the first couple of UFCs were coming out. You know, that was great. You were seeing different martial arts styles fighting against each other. But you were seeing a lot of this stuff already going on in Japan, where you had shoot fighting matches, you had pro wrestling matches, you had catch wrestling matches. You'd have one show, and you may or may not know if it was a real match or not, you know? And I love that mindset, and it just... This whole game, I mean, the whole thing about wrestling is, and this is a big word I learned a couple of days ago, how it means in the right context, you have to be lucrative. You know, when you're event promotions, when you're a salesman, you got to think, how lucrative can this be? So with me, I want to use fight sports, you know, entertainment fight sports to raise money and awareness for combat veterans suffering with PTSD. So how can I be the most lucrative? How can I sell the most tickets? How can I raise the most awareness and get the most eyes on it? And it's by having some of the best looking fights that anyone has ever seen. So first and foremost, I have to go to where it's at. Tampa Bay, I'm from North Carolina. Tampa Bay is the Nashville, Tennessee, you know, professional wrestling, indie wrestling coming up.
Yeah.
So, you know, I moved my family down here 2.5 years ago. I started my own promotion company. I do, you know, farmers markets, fashion shows, seminars. I do a lot of promotion events. I work with a lot of food trucks, a lot of vendors, building my name, my reputation up for this. And then with that said, now I'm ready to launch what is called, my company is Die Hard Marketing. Now I'm ready to launch the second chapter, which is the official launching of Die Hard Wrestling. And Die Hard Wrestling is just that. It's something that people, number one, is to raise money and awareness for combat veterans struggling with PTSD. So it's for a good cause. It's by someone, owner, founder, is a combat veteran who struggles with PTSD. So there's nothing fake about us. And then with that said, it's different. I have 3 different divisions lined up for my Die Hard. The first division is the Die Hard. I don't want to say the lowest division, but the first division in the roster is the Die Hard All-American Submission Grappling Division. And what that division is, that's not professional wrestling. That's not choreographed. That's real grapplers. BJJ guys, catch wrestling guys, submission grappling, Sambo. If you want to come into the ring and test it out in a 15-minute match, just like the old Pro Jitsu days, the old Gracie Jiu-Jitsu days, there's no, you know, it's not going to be no kicks and punches. It's just going to be grappling to submission. That's the Die Hard All-American Submission Grappling Division. Then the next division is the Die Hard Pro Heavyweight Division, and that's your pro wrestling division. That's your choreographed stuff, and it's just as hard. People always you think there's a big wall between BJJ and pro wrestling, and there's not. The techniques are the same. The respect's the same. You know, it's great. So the next division is the pro wrestling division, and that's the choreographed. That's the 2 guys that are going in. They're both phenomenal athletes, and they're working out their choreographed pro wrestling show. And then the last division, the top division, is the Die Hard Pro Combatives Division, and that's reserved strictly for armed forces athletes only. So anyone can be in the submission grappling division. Any professional wrestler can be in the Die Hard Pro division, but only armed forces, active duty, and veterans can be in the Die Hard Combatives division. And that's going to be your shoot fighting matches. That's going to be like the old Sakuraba looking matches, the old shoot fighting matches. So we're going to have all 3 types. Every show is going to have 1 or 2 of each type of division. So that way you'll see a couple of, you'll see some nice choreographed pro fighting matches that you know are going to run for the entire 12 to 15 minutes. You're going to see some nice shoot fighting matches with some 2 combatives experts, some military guys, and then you're going to actually see some submission matches where people are actually going no gi or gi, going for real submission. So every show is going to be great. We actually have 3 lined up. There's 3 shows lined up. There's going to be a Tampa Bay qualifier. Then there's going to be a Nashville, Tennessee qualifier. And both qualifiers kind of mirror each other, so I'm going to talk about those 2 in a minute. And then the winner of the Tampa qualifier versus the winner of the Nashville qualifier meet. They're going to meet in Fayetteville, North Carolina, right there where Fort Bragg is, for the finalizer. So what the qualifiers are for the qualifier is going to be, we're going to select 4 of the Tampa Bay or the Florida area, 4 of the most exciting professional wrestlers, veterans, U.S. military, U.S. military professional wrestlers, 4 of the most exciting ones, and they're going to fight in a tournament that night, single elimination, so the winner of that qualifier is going to have to fight 2 times that night. So it's going to be 4 of those guys fighting 2 times that night. Right. We're going to have 2 submission division fights, and then we're going to have a co-main event, which is going to be a pro heavyweight pro wrestling fight. And then again, whoever wins and then in Nashville, we're going to do the same thing. Nashville's very close, several veterans out there. We're going to have 4 veteran fighters in a tournament, single elimination. Right. We're going to have some submission fighters, and we're going to have a co-main event of a professional wrestling match. And then the winner of the pro wrestling match of that one and the Tampa one are going to fight for the pro belt in Fayetteville for number 3. The winner of the Veterans Combatives qualifier, 4-man qualifier of Tampa and Nashville are going to fight for the belt in number 3, and then the winner of the submission from the other 2 are going to fight for the belt. So there's going to be 3 events, and all 3 lead up to the belts in the 3rd event.
Nice. I like that. We always did. I come from a music entertainment background, and if you can do a trifecta of events, that was always a good formula for some reason. So I like that. I do love the concept of having the multiple different disciplines, so to speak, and kind of changing up what you're seeing to the eye. What do you think is going to be the most challenging thing about logistically putting like this show together with so many different varieties of, combatants?
I'm such a stoic, and stoics are those people that always think for the worst, and then they spend like all day thinking of scenarios.
Right.
So at this, I'll tell you right now, I don't know what the hardest thing right now is, but I'll tell you at the beginning what I thought was going to be the hardest thing, and this is for anyone. This is just something to think about if you're a fight promoter doing actual real MMA fights.
Right.
The thing is, if you want to get like 4 or 5 amateur MMA fights going on for a show, you have to keep in mind that you're going to have a lot of stagnant time. What if my first Die Hard event was all real submission only matches? What if all 4 matches were phenomenal and they were flying elbow triangles in the first 15 seconds of each match?
Right.
That'd be great, and that'd be 4 amazing fights, but then I'd have an hour and 30 minutes of just replay after replay after replay.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons that I decided at one time I was like, okay, I'm going to do pro wrestling events one night, and then a couple of weeks later do a submission grappling event. But then I realized that's what could happen, is if they're not all choreographed, if they're real fights, they could very well all end very quickly. Right. So that was the main thing that made me say I need to focus and actually figure out a way that I can mix in real submission matches with real pro wrestling matches and some shoot fighting matches. Right. That way, if a submission match ends very quickly, which we do want, I want everyone to end by submission quickly. Right. But if it does end very quickly, we got a pro wrestling match and we got a shoot fighting match lined up before and after.
Right.
So that right there, logistically, that was one of the biggest challenges. Now the next thing is finding people, because for me, I've always came from a size doesn't matter grappling background. I keep saying I'm 5'6" and I love fighting bigger guys.
Right.
So I don't want to get played into. I got 3 divisions. I got a shoot fighting division for my combatants, I got a pro wrestling division for my pro wrestlers, and I got a submission division for my grapplers. I don't want to play this. I got a heavyweight division, flyer weight division.
I got you.
I have 3 divisions. If you want to go for the belt, if you want to grapple or wrestle, you got to go open weight. And I think that's even going to look good for the pro wrestlers, because too often you see heavyweights going up against other heavyweights, lightweights going up against other lightweights. That's great, but you can mix in some other techniques, some other shows by having open weight classes.
Well, yeah, and the David and Goliath story is always a great one when you're talking about professional wrestling. So, as far as I'm concerned, so yeah, I like it too, because it's actually a brilliant idea. Like you said, if you've got shoot fights that go quick, you can just add time to your pro wrestling match, and these guys can bump for a few more minutes, and you can kind of work these things out.
Have a better walkout.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. They can extend their. Yes. Absolutely. That is actually very brilliant.
And that right there, that's one thing that I picked up. And if people can hear this, obviously, I don't come from a very long pro wrestling background. I come from a long, catch wrestling, submission grappling background.
Right.
But one thing that I've picked up is there's always a problem, or backstage, you always hear the wrestlers arguing that, hey, this guy went overtime. Hey, why did they get to go overtime? So it's like, hey, but they want to, they want to do a longer walkout. They want to talk to the crowd. They want to work the crowd and stuff. But then they have to feel like, oh, I'm boxing the smaller time. Well, then if they get told, hey, look, no worries, the match that just ended 5 minutes early by an awesome submission. So now you got 5 extra minutes to work a walkout.
Right.
That's gonna, it wins for everyone.
Yep.
There's no bad news now. If every submission wrestling match ends in the first 2 seconds, it makes the fight look better, and it's going to make the performances longer and
right.
better.
And once again, you've got the time allotted, so if they all go the distance, everybody still gets their time in. Like I said, you got all bases covered. I think that's absolutely brilliant. So before we get into live shows and all that stuff, wrestlers. Now you were talking about getting guys, and that's the new thing. So like, how has that been going?
So recruiting going well. I don't want to talk. What I'll talk about today, I'll talk about a couple of the military ones. I'm working on a lot of the civilian ones, the grappling ones as well, and the pro ones. But I'm really having a good time finding the military ones, because it's actually getting me back in with my boys. Like you said, I have a school. I teach Monday through Friday right here in North Tampa at Core Martial Arts. It's an MMA school. We have kickboxing and striking classes, and then we have grappling classes, and I'm the head instructor of the grappling class. So again, veterans get to come here and train for free. But with that said, I'm able to actually, when I meet up with a new wrestler or a veteran wrestler, I get to bring them here to my school. They get to work out with me on the mats, and I fill them out and stuff. So we're actually finishing up now. This week we're actually debuting our first 45-minute documentary on our first sponsored wrestler. We're going to announce who he is. So we have one veteran wrestler that we've officially, Die Hard Marketing has decided to take in under our wing and 100% sponsor. We're going to announce him. We have another guy. His name is Ragnarok. He's a heavyweight pro wrestler. He went to combat a couple of times with the military, and then he actually went back as a contractor a few more times. So he's the real deal. So yeah, we've got from heavyweights all the way down to the little guys. We have some military wrestlers already signed up, already approved. Cool. But I got to be honest with you. I got to be honest, and I'm not trying to put some heat on you. No, but I don't approve everyone just because they're a veteran. I don't approve them. And what I mean, I've got some garbage that came through here. I'm going to call someone out by name right now, so heat on me.
Shoot, baby.
He knows. But, if you're listening, Killian Sweets, he's a veteran. He's a U.S. Army veteran, but you wouldn't know it because his character is so un-American. He acts like an IRA, an Irish Republic Army guy. He wears a kilt when he walks in. It's too cheesy, too gimmicky. I gave him a chance to change his image. He didn't take me serious, so, I had to drop him. So, we drop people. Matter of fact, speaking of dropping, he tried to dojo storm me. He tried to come into my school, my MMA school one night, dojo storm me. He wanted to make a video. Damn. And I did drop him. Sure enough, I dropped him, and when you see the documentary, we actually have the video of it put into the documentary from our surveillance cam, from our security camera. So you'll be able to see someone come in and try to dojo storm me and yell at me, and I literally slam them. So that's what that's my life. I'm the real deal, top to bottom. I don't just look at people and look at their promo videos. You wanna be on Die Hard? You wanna fight in Die Hard promotions? You gotta come to meet me. You gotta hit the match with me.
Yeah, come get stretched out.
Absolutely.
For a minute. Yeah, hell yeah. No, that's what's up. That is what's up. All right, so we talked about it, and I know you got a class coming up soon, so I don't want to hold you too much longer. We're getting a lot of information out there, but I want to continue to get this information out. So I know you were talking about trying to get you got these 3 shows together, and logistically, it's got to be crazy in these times. We talked a little bit about it before. You were shooting for a September thing. The Mike Tyson happened. You're going to move it around. Are you still looking for September, October to try to get these shows together?
We're definitely what we're gonna do now, and yeah, thanks for bringing that back up. Me and Mike Tyson had some words. Water under the bridge now, Mike. You said some things, I said some things. Sorry, but I'm not mad at you. But we were planning on doing it. Friday was 9/11. That's a very, sentimental date for veterans.
Right.
So we were planning on making our first show 9/12,
Right.
September 12th, which is on a Saturday. Mike Tyson's going to fight Roy Jones Jr. now on September 12th. So we decided to not do the date that time, which is actually going to be better just because with Corona and stuff. I want to make sure that, number one, everyone feels comfortable to come back out.
Right.
But I want to make sure that all the fighters and athletes have been back into their gym with adequate time to train and stuff. That's a big thing. And I know with the Corona down and a lot of shows being canceled, if I drop a line right now and say, hey, I got an event, I'll take anyone. Anyone's going to want to get on because they want to be on the show.
Yep.
But unfortunately, I want to make sure that they've had time to train too because I want them to do as best they can, especially in the submission grappling divisions. So yeah, we're gonna buy a little bit of time. So the way we're figuring we're gonna do it now is we want to do the first event, the Tampa one. We want to move that one to December.
Okay.
We want to do the Nashville one right over there in January. So they're both very close, but they're boom 2000, 2021,
Right.
2020, and then we're gonna move the other one. We're gonna move the equalizer, the finalizer,
Yeah.
the third one, we're going to move that one all the way to June 21.
Okay.
So they're right around the corner, but there's still time.
Yes. No. And and that's a smart way to play it because it's safety all the way around. It's safety from with this Corona thing. It's safety from a physical standpoint, making sure these guys are ready to go. And then logistically, there's a lot going on, and just securing venues and doing all that stuff. Locking a date in now, you're almost guaranteeing a change. I mean, there's the way things are right now. So I get you. So with everything being such kind of a fluid situation, give it to the people, man. Where can they find you? Where can they find stuff so they don't miss out? I mean, I'm going to tell them. We're going to talk about it because J-Dubs is doing the belt for the Combatants Championship, but I want you to give out your information so they can follow you and they can see what's going on. And they don't miss anything.
I'll give you everything right now. And then let me say that we're not going to just sit still. So now that we're pushing the dates back a little bit longer, that doesn't mean I'm going to sit in a recliner. That's going to give us more time. We're going to be working promo videos.
Right.
We're going to be following up at other people's gyms.
Yes.
We're going to be making documentaries every 3 weeks on the fighters and stuff.
Okay.
And you can see it all. So you'll be able to see it if you go on to YouTube. If you went on YouTube and you type in Gorilla Hapkido, and it's not gorilla like the animals, gorilla like, the Viet Cong running through the jungle. So Gorilla Hapkido is the video page link onto YouTube.
Okay.
If you went on Facebook, you could see it. The Facebook marketing page is Die Hard, spelled DIY, like do it yourself, Die Hard Marketing. Or if you wanted to look at our martial arts videos and our martial arts training, and again, veterans train for free right here in the Tampa Bay area with us, you go to Tampa Bay Hapkido on Facebook. And I wanted to say one more thing. I do have to jump in. All these kids are looking at me on the mat like, what's this guy doing?
Yeah.
But I want to say something. Veterans train 100% free here at my school at Tampa Bay Hapkido. But if you're listening to this and you're not in the Tampa Bay area and you're a veteran, or if you know a veteran, contact me. I will find someone. So if you're somewhere else, if you're in a whole other state, message me and say, hey, Tim, I'm a veteran, or I know a veteran, and I heard that you said that jiu-jitsu and grappling is a good, therapy. What can you do? I will find a school. I'll look around. I'll screen them. I'll even contact them and say, hey, I got a couple of veterans. What can you do for them? So don't feel like my offer for free training is only extended right here in Tampa Bay area. If you're out of the Tampa Bay area and you want some help locating a school, contact me, and I'll help you find a school. And I'm actually going to be starting to do seminars now. So I'm going to be moving around to other states and other schools actually doing seminars.
Okay.
And the money at the seminars are going to be donated to the vet centers in that town. So yeah, that's where you can find me at.
Okay, well, I'm gonna kind of, this is kind of on the fly here as we do this thing live in real time. I have got, if you want to start doing that kind of stuff, and you're interested in the Metro Detroit area, I can definitely take care of you with some gyms around here that would probably be interested as far as
well, there it is.
MMA gyms.
That'd be the first destination.
Yeah, because I can get like all Michigan top team and all them cats, man. They'd probably be interested in doing stuff like that. Darren, Darren Cruikshank and Cody Stamen and these guys that have been UFC guys. They're all out of Michigan top team originally before they went and hung out with Uriah at Team Alpha. So like there's gyms here, there's a connection here. We've got a lot of veterans here, and this is what brought me on board, and so I will piggyback that. Anybody else in other areas, if they need that information to get a hold of Tim, you can use me as a median, and I'll make sure Tim gets you. We'll work things out. And Tim, when you're ready to do that and move around, I'll put you in touch with some cats here in Detroit, and we'll make some shit happen, dude. Because like, if you're gonna help these veterans, man, I don't want to get into any kind of politics whatsoever, but I just don't feel our government takes a good enough care of them, and anything we can do I'm all for it. So we'll be talking more because we got more business to do, but we'll definitely make that happen, brother.
And thank you for that. And let me say one more thing, and then I gotta jump off. But here's the last thing I'm gonna say, and this is I'm gonna give you a plug because you've been nice and stuff. For those that don't know, when I first started and decided to do this Die Hard wrestling, and I wanted to do a wrestling event to raise money and awareness for veterans with PTSD, and I needed to leverage some of the costs and stuff, and I decided, hey, if I reach out to a belt company, maybe I could partner with them, do some marketing with them, and they can help with a belt. So I started looking, and actually, to be honest, most of the belt companies are not even American made, and there's nothing wrong with that, but just I felt like maybe I should use an American made company for my cause. So I kept scrolling, and I found you were the first American made company I saw. I sent you a message, and it was just as simple as say, hey, I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran. I'm doing a wrestling event to raise money and awareness for veterans with PTSD. Can you help me with a belt? And I had my fingers crossed. But at the same time, I was like, well, if nothing happens, I've been shot down by Al Bundy for a fight before. It's okay. But he didn't even miss a beat. He read it, and he came right back and said, you know what, for the veterans, I got you. I'll do it. I'll make the belt, no problem. And it looks beautiful. I've been showing people the pictures and the drafts and stuff, and it's just, you made it so easy. So if people are listening, this is an American-made company, but anyone in America can say I'm an American company. This is truly a patriotic company that's doing something to help the veterans. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for that.
I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate what you're doing out there, man. I really love all of it. We're going to have to chop it up some more on and off the air, but I'm going to let you get back to your class, bro. I'm going to let you get back to your class, brother.
I'm about to hit it now.
All right, man. Do that thing. Take care of business. I love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, my friend. Nothing but love.
All right, bro. So there is the man, the myth, the legend, Tim Harrell, the owner of Die Hard Wrestling. An interview I absolutely butchered last time we were on the air, and so I was like, Tim, I got to get you back on. I'm going to vomit if we don't have this thing get out there. So I appreciate everybody that's hung out with us and stuff like that. But it's very cool. Next week, we're going to do the show Monday instead of Sunday. We're going to be at this time, 7 p.m., so we'll be at our normal time, but we'll be on a different day on Monday. We'll do another episode of this thing. I'll show you the design that they decided to go with, and we'll discuss that. Also, our buddy Shad from Bingo Fashions, we had it up in the air, and Bingo came through. He's done what he said he was going to do, and he shipped me another belt as a thank you for kind of our help as far as trying to steer in the right way, and I did pay for it, and he gave me a reasonable deal, and it came in, and we're going to review it. We're going to talk about it. We're talking about Shad and Bingo a little bit there. Also, our interactions with championship belts, aka Legends belts, aka Mohammed Hassan or Hassan Mohammed or AKA I don't know, but there's a bunch of them there that I deal with, and we're going to talk about the interactions with that company and how that's been playing out. And we're going to try to keep things rolling. I got some more projects to do, so we'll have some more project segments coming to the show. We're going to bring in more guests. Of course, we'll have more updates and stuff like that. IWE, a big shout out to the guys at IWE. If you haven't had a chance, go to IWE Gladiators on YouTube, on Facebook, all your social media platforms. You've seen it shared on the JDub page, so you can go there and link it up too. Check out some of our boys. They're getting back in September. Looks like the 19th they're going to put a show on here in northern Michigan. So it's It's on and popping. We'll be talking about that in the coming weeks, and talking about the replica belts that we're going to be putting out for that company, and all the different stuff that's going on down in the wrestling world. If you want a Tigers belt made, Mike, I would love to do it. I did a Detroit Lions Tigers hybrid belt for somebody. If you haven't seen it, it is posted on the page. Scroll down. It's the Lions logo jumping through the Detroit Tigers Old English D, and then I did the old school throwback Lions. It's a little bit more Lions, but it does have a little homage to the Tigers. I would love to do a Tigers belt. I've done a Pistons belt, so I love to do team belts. I did a Red Wings spinner belt. So yeah, we're all down for stuff like that. Maybe I'll come up with some designs and play some. So we got a lot we'll get into next week as we come in for a special Monday edition. Also, don't forget next Wednesday, 1 week from today, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Detroit Sports Radio Rebels is back in the house and live. Johnny the Moose will be here, and he is all fired up. Did you see the picture he took at Comerica there? We posted on the page at the opening day. That is an amazing picture. I believe he took that one. I don't want to say that 100%, but that's what he does when he's not here, so I tend to believe that that's his, but maybe he just found it. But it is a beautiful pic he posted up there of the Tigers game. So lots of sports stuff to get into, and a lot of symbolism behind that crazy picture, actually, if you go look at it. It's pretty wild. So we're going to get into sports. We're going to have a good time, and that's Wednesday's DSR2 coming up here next week. So for the Midsummer Spectacular. So, guys, once again, I really appreciate, I really appreciate, I hit the wrong button. How about that? Shit happens. I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Put up with me for a take a two. I am not stupid. I learned to work the equipment in a couple of days. I got the YouTube degree. Sorry, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. I don't know what the hell happened. It was just a total, well, I do, but I mean, I don't. I don't know how I hate it. Technology is wonderful when it works, and it sucks when it doesn't. But it worked great today, right? You heard me? You actually put up with me? You guys love me? I love you too. Be good to each other. I'll see you on the flip. Peace.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.